It is Sunday night, August 20th, and I have Kat Espinda. I've had her on a couple times before, and however, this is going to be a very interesting live as she tells us her story. But I'm going to have her give her some backstory first. And for those of you who don't know me, for Kat's audience, I am the third culture patriot. I was a third culture kid, which is someone who grows up in countries and cultures that are not their parents' country or their passport country. In my case, it was both. I'm American. My dad was transferred when I was 2. And at 13, we left Argentina with bombs and kidnappings and all kinds of stuff because it was all kinds of corruption going on. And then we went to Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, which was obviously much more beautiful. Not that Argentina wasn't beautiful, but it was beautiful. So I am trilingual. And so I bring you information sometimes from other countries that most people can interpret. Anyway, Kat, you want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. For those who have not seen me yet, I'm Kat Espinda. I'm a child advocate and a whistleblower. I left the Matrix, or my ex-company that I was the CEO of, back in 2021 to get into the fight for the children. And that's kind of morphed into me fighting for everyone in this world because of the bank fraud that's going on and the proof that I have. And people don't want to see the truth. They don't want to see even the proof in the court systems. And this is what I've been talking about in my channel. This is why I started a channel to just start peeling back the layers of the truth. What is the truth? And we've been taught a lot of lies. And when it comes to our banking system, I've found out that I've explained this to your audience in the past, that all mortgages are fraud. The debt is fraud. All money is not money. It's just debt that's created by the Federal Reserve. And everyone who gets a loan, they sign their life away, they sign their children away. Because we are just corporations when they created that birth certificate for us. But I actually have the proof of fraud with my bank that 100% of the digits or the credits that populated my bank account, by the way, after they sold the promissory note to the Federal Reserve, 100% of the credits to the seller for my home came from the Federal Reserve. Now, when I signed up back in 2018 to purchase my home, I was under the impression that the bank was funding the loan. And I think most people do think that banks fund loans. But what you find out, and for so many people right now who are out there struggling, because this is a debt slavery consumerism society, and they have us programmed to just buy, buy, buy. And because we're so programmed to do that, we have to live a certain lifestyle to keep up with that and that desire and want to be able to go do this and do that and have all the things that the matrix has to offer. But it's all lies and it's a big illusion. That's why it's called the Matrix. That's why I call it the Matrix. So, anyways, I have made it a point to stand in the truth. I'm not going to play games anymore. It's time for us to stand in the truth, because, or we can continue in this debt slave society forever. And for me, I know that, first of all, how is it that the bank can kick someone out of their home or steal their car or do any of those things when the bank provided $0 for those? And so, as you know, I had put out my video, and if you people go and check out my video, and I think you're going to show it here. You mentioned showing it here.
Yeah,
It's
actually,
a
I was
2 minute.
looking for that. I was looking for the page you had sent me. Maybe you can go into your sent
Mhm.
file where the bank is admitting they got your money from the Federal Reserve. Now, here's my question. If they got your money from the Federal Reserve, in other words, you funded your own loan, right?
Mhm.
Then how did they then go sell it back to the Federal Reserve?
Oh, well, they didn't. Oh, no. So the way it works is the promissory note, you sign that paper. Then at that point, once it's signed and approved, they send it over to the Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve approves it. And then at that point, they print or they create the digits. So the bank doesn't provide, there is no money. They don't provide, there's no money there. They create the digits at the Federal Reserve, and then those digits just get sent over like a wire transfer. It's a wire transfer to your account. And you are the originator of that credit. And you are the originator of that credit because the value is you. It's not even the home. The value is you are the value. Your credit score, your hard work, your blood, sweat, and tears, your ability to pay a bill on time. That means that they actually took your trust, and you trusted the bank to provide the funds. That's what they, at no time did they ever say, oh, well, we get our money or to pay off your house from the Federal Reserve. See, that was never said to me, and I know that's never said to anyone at all.
No.
So this is a huge, as far as I'm concerned, millions and millions a year are foreclosed on. Their cars are taken away, yet their trust paid for it. How is it that they can add your house and car as an asset to the bank when they provided no pennies for it, no money for it? So this is what I've been fighting. And, so of course, as I always say in my channels and on my shows, no matter what you do in this legalese maritime admiralty law court system, they're going to adjudicate against you. And that's why it's so important that we learn how to fight this system. Now, I, for one, am not afraid to do what I need to do to stand in the truth. And
Telling you,
up
you
until
really have
now, I
no
have
fear.
been.
You have no fear. It's unbelievable. But before we keep going, let me just show people your channel.
Okay,
So
thank you.
this is Kat Espinda's channel on Rumble. Make sure you follow her here. She also has the locals, and so she's going to tell us her story. But I want a little more backstory for you guys to understand first. You're a sovereign person who does not pay taxes. You haven't paid taxes since 2017 with no repercussions other than them trying to
No
promise you
repercussions.
money to try to pull you back into their system. Your
Yes,
son
yes.
has never opted into the system of paying taxes. So we have to agree to pay taxes for them to tax us. But if we never opt into that system, they can't come after us.
That's right. It's all voluntary.
Now, there's a lot of people who don't pay taxes that then they go after. Is that because they opted in and then they didn't pay the taxes?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The IRS will come after you if you don't make a stance, if you don't claim your sovereignty, if you don't revoke your election with the IRS and announce that revocation of election. They can come after you all day because you volunteered and you didn't exit out. You have to exit out by revoking your election if you want to stop paying taxes. But I do know people who thought, things were going to wrap up with what people believe is what's coming, right? But it didn't come as quickly as people thought it was going to come, and they just stopped paying taxes, and now they're in trouble.
Right.
And it's I can see why people did that, but we have to be vigilant and we have to continue pressing forward. And we don't want to be putting ourselves in a situation where it gets us in trouble. Well, kind of like me in this last thing that just happened. But I mean, and that's why I'm doing this. I'm sharing my story. I am a sovereign woman. I am not a human. I am not a Mrs. I have no title. And as far as I'm concerned, we're just Terrans. We are living brothers and sisters. We have a galactic family. I know this to be true. And we are put here right now for this time to fight what's going on. And this is the unveiling and the great awakening. It's coming. And there's nothing that they can do to stop it. But at the same time, people seem to think that they're not pushing forward on their official powers, and they absolutely are moving forward on their official powers. So we have to do everything that we can to protect ourselves from, because, and with what happened with me, just I have to also make sure that I'm protecting my energy, because I think they did what they did to try to bring down my energy, to affect me, to stop me, put fear into me and my family. But this just gives us more resolve and understanding and overstanding that these people are criminals. And why is it that, the sheriff of my county, Sheriff Thomas Crosby of Benton County, why doesn't he want to look at the proof or the evidence of the fraud? What's going on there? How are we supposed to win when the county sheriffs are the strong arm for the court system and they can't listen
Right.
because the cognitive dissonance is so real. It's very, very real. And, it's very hard sometimes to explain these things to people because they don't know anything about it. And because of that cognitive dissonance, they're just kind of in a fog and a in a
Okay,
haze.
so let me stop you for a
And
second.
so it's
So
repetition.
you do these, so you revoked um your voluntary giving taxes successfully to where they can't come after you. But you help others do the
Yes.
same thing and you don't charge a lot.
Yes, they
So I
do.
want you to talk about that so people can come to you for that if they want to revoke their own.
Okay.
So tell a little bit about what you do
Yes.
in that respect and how to contact you on that. I have your website running on the bottom, but I know a lot of people are
Okay.
interested in knowing more and doing that. Who maybe don't have husbands who
Yes.
are like, hell, well, no, like I can't do any of that yet because he's like, oh, that's real cognitive dissonance. Okay, but anyway, go ahead and explain. At least in that, he's waking up on a whole lot. But on that, I'm not going to get anywhere on that one. But a lot of people are ready to do that and are believing it. And as couples, they are both aware of it. So maybe you can tell a little bit more about that so people can contact you and more people can get out of the system.
Absolutely. I do help people revoke their election. It's not something that I really advertise because it's not something that I want people to press a button, pay, and then they just get it in the email. I like to work with people that I actually know because especially in this movement, there are people out there who are trying to sabotage our movement. So I don't want to be doing things, without knowing who I am working with. And in that case, if you're interested in revoking your election, I have a great template that I use. And like Cynthia said, I don't charge very much for that. It's the only thing I charge for. It's very low. And I do that because so many people out there have listened to YouTube influencers or influencers who dump a ton of information on them. It costs a lot of money to go to some of these seminars, and then at the end, there's no clear path on how to do that. Now, on top of that revocation of election, the SARJ has a personal declaration of independence. Now, that works, I believe, beautifully in concert with the revocation of election, because with the revocation of election, you actually have your social security number on it. You have to put that on it because when you send that to the IRS, they attach that to your account forever, and then it's done. Once the IRS receives your revocation of election, you never have to pay taxes again in the system. And as long as you serve the system for a minimum of 10 years, you qualify for all of your benefits. Your straw man earned those benefits. So you still get to have, those
Social Security.
benefits. So just a lot of times that's a question that people ask. And the only two ways that you cannot qualify to revoke your election is if you are a United States, if you live in Washington, D.C., because to live there, you have to be a United States citizen of the corporation. Or if you work there or contract with Washington, D.C., if you do those two things, you do not qualify. You must be a United States citizen. And that's why every time a politician wins an elected seat, they end up getting an address in DC or an apartment in DC. They must live there. They must be a United States citizen. That's why I would never run for politics ever. People were always saying you should join, the Republican Party. You should get into the election, get on the school boards. It's like, honestly, I'd rather fight on the outside on the land. Because if you try to fight in legalese, you're just going to get muzzled every single time. And when we fight on the land, we're talking a different language. See, because the police seem to think that, or the county sheriffs seem to think that a piece of paper can give them official powers, police powers to hurt you, to steal from you, to lie to you. And when we do that, it's called perjury, it's called theft, it's called burglary. But when they do it, it's called official powers. Well, I'm sorry, but you have to show me the contract from God or me or somebody that says you have the right to steal something that I paid for 100% by my trust. This is where we're at. And this is the fight. Now, listen, I knew what I was getting into in this fight.
Okay, so before you
But
keep going on that,
God,
before you
honestly,
keep going there, give
yes.
backstory on you. Okay, so and I agree with you on the houses because, well, I've already paid ours more than twice, and so I'm thinking, oh, but if they came after me for, if I stop paying, I've already paid for it 2.5 times, twice at least. I guess I'm on my third time. Uh, then that would be unfair because I've already paid the principal twice and the interest twice, and obviously we're still not done because they inflated so high.
Right.
But you,
Well, the thing is listen, you paid it
oh, I
twice,
know,
right?
and they
They
got
should
paid.
pay you all that money
That's
back.
me paying it twice
All that money should be
plus what
paid
they
back.
were already paid when they took it out of the trust.
Right.
So actually, they got 3 times. So you decided, okay, I know this information, I know it to be true, so I'm going to stop paying it and give them a block of silver, an ounce of silver
Mm-hmm.
for my house. And you did that, and they sent you. How did you get them to send you all the paperwork? Where they ended up sending you the proof that they got the money from the Federal Reserve in your name.
They'd already they'd already sent me all the proof. I already had the
But
proof
how did
when
you
I
get them to
made that
send
offer.
you that? Because they screwed up by sending you
Well,
that piece, and I'm trying to find where you had sent me that document, and it's not pulling up. Um,
yeah, I have the redacted information, but I'm going to be I'm going to be putting out a video and I'm going to release everything. I'm going to make a short documentary video from beginning to end, tying our world central banking system into my story and how they relate and what the proof is and who is participating in this activity against the people. This is the problem because if they can just, send their cronies out anytime they want because of a piece of paper. See, this is what they've been doing to the people for a very long time. But now people are actually starting to wake up to what's going on and how this is all working. Because I do support uh, the blue, my police, the police. My dad was a deputy sheriff, but they need to start using their minds. They're so robotic. They're so programmed, very programmed. So we have to somehow get it through to them on what they are doing is immoral. It's against what God, intended for this earth.
so, okay, so you stopped paying for that mortgage, and you've been in a battle with them and your car as well.
In my car, both,
Right.
yes.
And um, they were threatening to come and take your car and arrest you.
Yes, yes. Oh, well, not arrest me, just take my
Your
car.
car.
So the day before I got arrested, because I
What
did
does
get
that say
arrested. I'm sure everyone knows.
while I try to find this document?
Okay. But yeah, I mean, I definitely got arrested, and I put out a 2-minute and 22-second video to just highlight the meat of it and to do a little bit of exposure on names. But the bank, the chairman of the bank, the county clerk, the sheriff department, the judges, they're all adjudicating against the people all day long for the big corporations, the insurance companies, and just the banks. Because, well, the court system is a bank and it makes trillions of dollars of years on the backs of the people. And it breaks my heart to watch these cases where people lose their homes knowing that their trust already paid for it. I mean, that's just insane. And so that's what I'm fighting for. I'm fighting for it's not just happening here in America. This is happening
Mhm.
all over the world. Except for America, we have the most debt. Like we have the most house debt. I think Russia, 1 to 2% of the people in Russia have debt on their homes. But I think it's 40, 50, and it's probably more than that actually have debt. And the thing is even if you do pay off your house, if you don't pay your property taxes, if you don't pay your HOA bill, if you don't pay your irrigation district bill, they have superior liens over your
Right.
home.
Did you get out of that
So
one?
even if you do own your house outright, they can send the strong arms of the land via official powers unless the people stand against it and
And
unite.
they have taken people's
So
homes for not paying their homeowner HOA fees. They have taken people's homes
mhm.
for not paying those.
Yeah, it's
And they're not even a government
you have to
agency.
send them a cease and desist letter. Send them a cease and desist letter. It's so unconstitutional, and they don't have a contract with you. If you're in a HOA, there is no contract. There's CCRs, and the people at the top, the board of directors, they signed it. Where's your signature agreeing to the 60 pages of CCRs that they shoved down your throat, or you wouldn't be able to buy the home of your dreams? And probably at the time you thought, it's worth it, but really it's just another stripping of our rights as people, as men and women. So
Okay, so
yeah, it's just about changing how we
let's go.
think.
They showed up at your house. They threatened your son. Did they do that with guns at gunpoint?
I mean, well, the door was closed and they were outside pounding on the door and they were actually yelling his name out. How do they know his name? Obviously they can look him up, but they were calling his name and knowing he was home alone, and had my twin flame, Aaron, boxed in at the parking lot at the exact same time after I was arrested. So they had all three of us separated. They lied to me about what the meeting was for, because twice now I have tried to share my proof with the sheriff of Benton County, Sheriff Thomas Crosby, but he didn't take me up on it the first time. Now we're at this point where it's like, look, you need to look at my fraud. I need you to help me here. But no, instead he sends his son to come and to coming and collect my car, and a bunch of other county sheriffs.
Okay, your son was
But
home
that was
alone.
the
Where did they box
mhm.
in your boyfriend?
So that was the day. So yes, so he is the one who took the video of me getting arrested. And so when after I got arrested and after he left, like 3, 4 police boxed him in the parking lot, saying, well, where's the car? And making him upset. Then at the same
This was
time, he
after
found
you're
out while
arrested.
he was there.
After you're arrested?
This was after I was
After you're
arrested.
okay,
Yes.
so
So I didn't know about
where
this
did they
until I got
find you
out.
to arrest you?
Well, I showed up at the sheriff's office to show him my
So
proof.
they lied to you and said,
I
"We
was
want you to come and show your proof."
I volunteered with clean hands. I'm a woman of truth. I'm not here to sit around, waste your time, and lie about the fraud going on at my bank. But see, people are abetting in fraud here. There's a lot of abetting in fraud here. They're in bed together,
Kat,
so to
let's go to
speak.
what happened. So you show up at the courthouse to show your proof and
Hmm.
your document. Did they look at your
Yep.
document?
No, they didn't look. They didn't. I didn't even see the sheriff. He didn't even come out and show his
So they lied
face.
to you
He
to
had
get you
two of
there, and then
his
they just came out
police.
and arrested you?
Yep, that's it. I didn't even see him at all.
And they didn't tell you you're coming in to be arrested. They just said you're coming in to show your proof?
Yep.
They said
They were like,
so
okay,
they
well,
said coming in to share.
we have it on recording. We've recorded it, and when I release my documentary, that will be a part of it, of them inviting me. It's saying that he will be there for the meeting, and we recorded that meeting. They're liars. They're total pathological
Wow.
liars, is what they are.
Wow.
So they were trying to disrupt my energy. I'm sure they're probably trying to cause
Oh
fear
yes,
in
for
me and
sure.
my
To
family.
get you to back off.
But like I said, I'm going to be showing up tomorrow. I mean, wait, yeah, tomorrow morning at the county office, because I want to know where my car is, and I have stuff in there that's mine. That they didn't even let him empty it out; they just took it with everything. Yeah, that all my stuff. So, anyways, I guess, like I said, if you work for the system, you can lie, cheat, and steal. But supposedly, if you're a liar or a thief, they can adjudicate against you with no proof at all, because in the court systems the truth doesn't matter. But we can what I'm doing is intentional. I mean, I didn't really want to get arrested that day. I didn't 100% believe that, but we did make a plan in case they tried to arrest me there, that my son would just hand over the key. There would never be any way or any time that I would expect my son to hold off county sheriffs, and he's 16 years old. I mean, what they did, I mean, I'm going to say, that's a scary situation. And he was so upset. He said, "You know what? These people are so dishonorable." He was mortified to learn how dishonorable our county sheriff department was when I was there trying to show what they're doing to the people. But see, they're all in cahoots. They're all brothers in their little club. And that club is at the county justice center in my county, and it's in the county justice centers of everybody's counties, because this goes down all the way to the county level, to the city level, in every single city in our country.
Right.
That's why if you are in your city and town and nobody's fighting, maybe it's you that's supposed to be doing that. We all need to stand up. The faster we stand up, the faster this is over.
Kat,
So that's why
what were the charges placed on you?
It was obstruction of an officer. It was considered a gross misdemeanor.
Obstruction of an
That's it.
officer. What did you obstruct? Who did you obstruct?
Well, the day before they did all this, I peacefully protested the day before. So they did come to my house the day before with the same police, and they had a tow truck driver sitting out there. I had my sign out, and I just kept the door closed, and they were like, "We're going to take your car." And I said, "Well, how are you going to do that? Are you going to hatch it into my house? Like, what are you going to do? You're going to sit here all day? Or are you going to start hatcheting into my house? Because I'm not opening the door." And I was being very nice, and I gave them an education. They actually spent 45 minutes listening to me. This is the day before all this happened. At the very end, they were like, "Well, would you meet? Well, would you be willing to show your proof and meet with the sheriff like this week?" And I said, I would. I would actually. That's how it got set up. So they left that day. And then the next morning, I got up, got ready, suited up, brought my proof to show the sheriff. And instead of that, he didn't even show his face.
Okay,
And
hang tight for a
he
second.
just had me arrested.
Hang on for a second.
There's fraud going. My bank is committing fraud. I brought all the proof. Babe, can you take my proof, please?
Absolutely.
Don't let them take that.
Show them the one that I just posted today, because that has more.
What do you want to go with you?
You guys lied to me, by the way. So this one, you guys, what is your name?
Do you want the purse to go with her?
Surplus?
Yes.
No, can you take my purse?
Absolutely.
Yes. It's okay. So they're arresting me, and Capo has committed fraud, and I have the proof, and this is no justice in this area. There's no justice. So, thank you.
Love you.
I love you too, babe. There's fraud going in.
So obviously it's unlawful because they lied to you. They told you to come down to show your proof after you had peacefully protested in front of their place, in front of...
And no, at my own home. They came here to collect the car, and I peacefully protested, and I videoed the whole thing. It's like about 45 minutes long. I was going to release it, but I think I'm going to hold on to that for my documentary that I'm making when I do the full exposure of everyone.
Okay, so their charges were obstructing an officer at your home when you didn't let him take your car.
Yes. Yes, that's correct. So where's the injured party? Who got injured? Where's the crime? Where's the law broken? See, there wasn't any, they make up their legalese, the obstruction of an officer. I didn't touch an officer. All I did was protect my property.
Yeah, you just didn't
All I
open
did
your
was protect
door.
my property that I paid for. That's it. And so where's the justice when they won't listen? They don't seem to have a mind of their own to be able to listen to facts and truth. And so this is the world that we need to move towards, is a world towards truth and love and peace. And if you have a system where they're just coming against the people, I mean, think of all the people that work 30 years, all their lives to purchase a home. And at the end of their lives, they're broken down and maybe they can't pay their taxes. And then the government can come in and steal that.
Okay. So let's go back to,
So,
so did you have to post bail? Like, you did have to post bail.
okay. The way that, so they assigned $1,000 bail to me. So we brought that just in case to the next day after I'd spent the night in jail. And by the way, they put me in what's called J-Pod, the J-Pod area number 3, which is upstairs. J-Pod number 3 is the worst cell and the worst area in that entire jail, according to people I've talked to who know about it after I got out. And it's the place where they put all of the crazy, like people who are mentally disturbed and screaming all night. And they're like, you're lucky you didn't have poop flung at you. Like, that's where they put me. And probably to send a message. But listen, I was more worried, honestly, about Aaron and my son, because they didn't know what was happening to me. And see, I don't resonate in fear. I wasn't even at that moment, knowing that they frauded me, because they're all frauds. But I wasn't afraid, because see, there's no weapon formed against me that will prosper, none. And like I said, I know what I'm signed up for. If God takes me into the weeds of the courthouse, or if he takes me there, then I'm just going to have to trust that that is the path that he has put me on. And I can tell you this, they treat the people in there like total pigs. Total pigs. The food tastes like pig slop. I almost threw up. My stomach hurt the entire time I was in there. I just had a little cell. There was writing all over. There was a smashed spider on the wall. It was dirty, filthy. It was totally filthy. And there was a hole through the door. And the girls in there, like when you would eat, they would all be screaming at you for your food. I mean, this is literally what I experienced when I went in there. And I wasn't afraid in there. And I was very kind to everyone, because they don't know. And what's so funny is my roommate who I was in there with, she was awake. She's like, "Oh, you're talking about like the Rockefellers." I'm like, "Yes." The gal that I shared my cell with, and she was a very nice lady, but she was just like, oh, if she knew about programming, she knew about the Rockefeller, she knew about TV. She said her son just graduated high school and said that they don't teach anything in school that's worth anything. So people in there were awake, but the police aren't. And a lot of these people who get wrapped up into drugs, or think that, people think they're crazy, a lot of times they're awake and very misunderstood. And then they end up becoming a part of the system because they get onto drugs or whatever. So it was really sad, but God allowed me to see that. And I'd never been arrested before, and I don't have a record. So I will be on September 14th, this next month, is my court date at 1 p.m. at the Benton County Justice Center. And so if anybody wants to, I don't know why that turned off. If anybody wants to attend and see a show, then come and support me, because when you have a lot of people in the courtroom, your chances of winning are better. And so we need people looking at these judges in the eyes and saying, hey, you are not telling the truth. You're not adjudicating for the people. And so when you mentioned about the bail, the $1,000 bail, I went to court the next morning. There was I had about 7, 8 people that had come for me, sitting out there. It wasn't done in person. I was sitting in a room with a teleprompter, or not teleprompter, but like a video camera, and everybody was being tried in front of a camera. So I'm gonna see if this turns on real quick. Sorry, my thing just turned off all of a sudden. But anyways, um, when I got up, before it was my turn, the attorney that represents or represents people came up to me out in the hallway before I went up, and he said, "Hey, I'm going to be your attorney. I'm representing you." And he said his thing, and when he was done, I said, no offense, but I'm going to present myself." And he goes, "You're going to represent yourself?" I said, "No, you can't. You can't represent yourself. You can only present yourself. So I will be presenting myself." He's like, "Okay." So I get in there and I sit before the judge, and it's a female judge. Keep in mind, everybody that she was giving bail for before me had a 250 bail, a 500 bail, a 250 bail, a 250 bail, no bail, and mine was set at 1,000. So when I started to speak, it said on my paperwork that I was detained and pulled in there to give an answer to the court. So they were taking me against my will, so they could bring me in front of the judge to give an answer to the court. Well, she kept talking at first, and she goes, she goes, "I understand you're here to you're going to represent yourself." And I said, "No, I am going to present myself." And so she kind of like, I think they started to realize that, oh gosh, I said words. I can't, I had to explain it to her. It's like, I can't represent, I can only present myself. Now, the reason they do that is because of the straw man. If you say you represent yourself, you're really saying you're representing your straw man, because you can't present me, the living woman. But I could represent my,
Oh,
see how that works?
yeah.
It's all magic. It's all done under deception. So she ended up, after all of that, she started looking for me, and she goes, "Do you plead guilty or not guilty?" I said, "I am innocent. And for the record, I have no record." And then she went, "Oh, but you don't have to say anything. You don't have to say anything." See, I threw that in there on purpose.
This is the judge that asked you if you pleaded guilty?
Yeah, the judge asked me if I was, pleaded guilty, or innocent. And I said, "I am innocent. And by the way, for the record, I have no record." In other words, I have no misdemeanors, no felony. I have a clean record. See, I wanted to sneak that onto the record, because see, when everyone before me, she was telling everybody everything they ever did. "Well, you got this on your record, and you got this on your record, and you got on and on and on." But you know what? When it came to me, I had nothing on my record, so she wasn't saying anything about it. It's like, look, if you're going to be touting everybody else has a record, I want to make sure for the record, I have no record. And that's good if you don't, to get that on there. So at the end, she ended up letting me go with no bail. So I actually left the court with no bail. And I kind of wondered, I wonder if she saw the affidavit of truth that I sent to Judge Joe Burrows at Benton County Justice Center with my 27 proof of claims. And guess what? He's next on my list to be sued, because he did not rebut my affidavit of truth. And so this week, I'm going to be filing a lawsuit against Judge Joseph Burrows for adjudicating against me without considering the evidence, without taking or considering the facts, and not looking at the affidavit of truth that I had served to Chris Torres, who's the vice president of asset recovery at Hapo Community Credit Union in Kennewick, Washington. You see, I'm just coming out with the deets at this point, because what they did to me and my family, they don't deserve any privacy, any of it. I'm going to put it all out in the public. Anything happens to me, you can guarantee something happened because of what I'm doing for the world. They don't want people speaking the truth, and they don't like me over here, and that's okay. I don't like them either, honestly. I love everybody, but these people, I have no respect for them at all. So anyways, that's my stance on it. And I didn't cry at all in there. I didn't shed one tear in there. If anything, it just made me think about what I'm going to be doing, how I'm going to do it. I sent out good energy to my loved ones. because I was okay. I mean, it wasn't comfortable, but I was okay. And they didn't disrupt my energy at all. I'm strong. I'm the same as I am now as I was before I went into.
Stronger.
It didn't affect me. So
Stronger.
that's it. If anything, it made me stronger and our
Yeah.
family
Yeah.
stronger. And I'm telling you, my son, he's going to be just a warrior someday because he's gone through so much and he knows so much and he's awake. So this is, this is where we're at, and that's okay. We're just going to keep pressing and pushing, and I'm going to keep fighting the system and exposing the corruption as long as it keeps bubbling up. That's what we have to do is go after these people and hold them personally liable via affidavit of truth, because truth must be expressed in the form of an affidavit. 6,000 years of Babylonian banking, and this is the 5th time this banking system has been implemented into our world. It always
Yeah, it was
ends
in the
starting
start.
over.
So this got implemented in the early 1800s, and then it was done away with by Andrew Jackson, and then they
1871.
implemented it again. No, 1871 is when they took us over again, and
Right.
we didn't realize we got pulled back under the monarchy. But
Right.
the banking system didn't Andrew Jackson do away with it, which is the president that did away with the banking system. And then when Lincoln was going to do it again, then somehow they pulled it in, they created it. And then when I'll have to go back and watch it. And then when Lincoln was going to do it again, that's why they murdered him, because he was going to do away with the banking system again and bring in the banking system into the United States. He was going to give it to every state, I believe. I got to go watch it and take notes. Something like that. So
yeah, which basically,
when you say 5 times, the 5th time was the Federal Reserve.
1871 Organic Act. That was the 5th time this Babylonian banking system has been implemented onto our world. And we just keep not learning our lessons. The thing is based on just the code, the gematria, the Bible code, things we're learning. And being that this is year 2023, I heard someone say that, which 7 is the year of like finality. I truly believe we are so very close to this whole thing popping and the truth finally coming out. But until then, we keep fighting and we keep pressing forward, because I don't really believe in dates, because the Bible says that no one knows the day or hour. No one. And so when people tell me a date, I'm already like, don't tell me that date, because then it's not going to happen on that date. You know what I mean? Because nobody knows the day or hour.
I will tell you, she's not giving dates. Melissa, Freedom Force, she showed the sign in the stars, which had never happened before. There is another one coming up. But what she said is she was beginning to believe that the 7 years of tribulation that's mentioned might have been 2016 to 2023. In other words, we're not in for another 7 years.
No.
We are in the 7 years right now.
That's right. Absolutely. I believe that.
And I have another one.
And then, you know what? I really do think it's going to happen this year. I do. And so,
well, there's a sign coming up that she showed, and I have to go back and watch it again. I had her send it. I had her send it to me. Maybe I'll pull that up. There's another one coming up in November. The scales.
The scale. I don't know if I know what you're talking about.
So the scales of justice in the stars. There are stars for everything. There's the scales of justice, and there's a lion. So it's a lion. I'm talking off the top of my head because it's not in front of me, and I got to go view it again. But there's something coming up. But when she was on with David Nino Rodriguez, I remember she said, "Look, I believe we are in the 7 years, and it might be." But the more I think about it, so there's 2 ballparks in here. And again, this is just off the top of our head, just talking here between us. It's not a date, but it could either be 2016 to 2023, or I do believe that out of everyone who has been giving us prophecies, Kim Clement is probably the one, and that's why they killed him. And even his daughter is now believing the CIA killed him. She said,
Oh,
can
I
they
would
give you
believe
heart attacks? Can they give you all this stuff? She goes, they must have killed him. It's amazing. She wasn't thinking that way before. And now she
right.
is. And I do believe they killed him because he was spot on.
He was spot on. Even when he had thought about the letters Q and it was like A and Q or something like that, I was like, oh my gosh.
I
It's
know.
crazy. And you know,
Anyway,
some people believe
his
he could
prophecy of
see into the future or that, you know, like that. So
his prophecy of 2027 is the new world. It's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. He said, I hope I live to see that day. And he heard
yeah.
the voices of the elderly and the children. He said it was absolutely incredible. Well, so guess what? Our 7 years might have started 2020 when they took over our country. Now, I hate to believe that one because that's another 4. But like you said, we all have to rise up. So because I do want you to touch on that, on what everybody needs to do and how everybody needs to unite and start standing in their truth and all that. Before you go there, I want more facts. Okay.
Okay.
So they arrested you with ridiculous charges. It has no basis.
Mm-hmm.
The next day, something you said to the judge makes you think she did away with your bail. What exactly was that again?
I think it's just the fact that, you know, everything that's the court system is basically set up using the art of words. And they're professionals at the art of words. They that's what they're taught when they're becoming a judge. And so they're, you know, when you they tell you, oh, you're going to represent yourself, they know they're not talking about you, the woman or man. They're talking about representing your straw man. They know that. Now the attorneys don't necessarily know that. I've talked to some attorneys, and when you tell them these things, they just look at you like a deer in the headlights. But the judges actually go to schools to learn about common law and to learn how to counter these, you know, kind of arguments. Now, I didn't really have a lot to say, and I don't think she really had to say, but she was looking very, very hard in her system to try to find something against me, but she couldn't find anything. That's why she didn't mention any record. That's why I had to make sure for the record I mentioned that I have no record, since she was, you know, blowing everybody else's records up before me. So I don't know why my light keeps turning off. It's plugged in and everything.
Tap it.
I know, it's like, stop it. Yeah, I don't know. I'll try later.
Okay. So for those of you just coming on, Kat does help you get out of the system of paying taxes. She has successfully done it. Many others have successfully done it. She does not charge a lot. You do a Zoom meeting with them. Is that correct? Okay, so
Yes,
she will have a Zoom meeting with you. She needs to vet you. We have way too many criminals out there that are working for the system. So you'll do a Zoom with them. You'll send them the paperwork they need. And do you help them with any follow-up? What all does that?
Yeah, but yes, so basically if I meet with somebody, I'll send them a Zoom link, we'll meet and talk and see where they're at. And then, you know, and I love anyways meeting sovereign souls out there. I've been meeting the most amazing, wonderful people. They're all like us. We're all just want to know the truth. We just want to all be free. And then during that time, if you're interested, it's not mandatory, you know, even if you have a Zoom meeting with me, I'm not going to twist your arm if you decide you can't or whatever. But if you do, then I just send a 1-page mono agreement, not a contract, but an agreement. And it's 1 page. It doesn't have any Shakespearean language in it. It's very straight to the point. It's what I do and what you get for it. And basically what you get for that is all the paperwork. I provide all the instructions. So when you get it in your email, within 48 hours of payment and the contract, it's ready, or the agreement is ready to go. And then we will meet one more time on Zoom so that I can answer any questions that you have. And then you just send it off per the instructions to the IRS commissioner, the director of services, and to the senators of the capital of your state. That's all you need to do. You once you send it to them, it's over. You don't ever have to pay taxes again after that, and they can't come over after you because it's legally and lawfully okay for you to revoke your election. That is something that you can legally and lawfully do, not just lawfully. Now, there's a lot of people out there who believe that they have to ask permission from the Secretary of the State to do this. And I just don't see it that way, honestly. And I think in talking to the Sarge, he feels the same way. We just need to declare our independence with these and sever ourselves from these organizations that we have these adhesion contracts with. That we don't, we didn't ask for all of this stuff. It was all done under adhesion contracts. It's also with the IRS, because when you signed that first time you paid your bill, you were really signing a contract with the government to be a United States citizen of America corporation citizen. And
Question.
a citizen is a slave.
Meet with Secretary of State. What do you mean by that? Do some people tell you you have to meet with the Secretary of State? I mean, why is there a difference in what you believe, Sarge believes, and meeting with that some people believe that you have to meet with the Secretary of State?
Well, I might get a lot of people mad about this, so I'm sorry. I don't want to get you mad. I really don't.
No,
We all have different ways. And it doesn't matter. And if you did it that way, we're all heading towards the same goal. But basically, with the American state national process, you have to send certain paperwork into the Secretary of State, and they have to like approve it and your status, and you're waiting for them to send something back to you. Oh gosh, I think my son might be home. If my dogs start barking, I'm so sorry.
Okay.
But you don't need to ask permission to be free.
Right.
You don't need to ask permission to be sovereign. That is a right that is given to you by God. It's not given to us by our government. But see, they've made us think that it is. So and that's the whole thing about that. So the revocation of election, you're just basically making your stance known to them that you're revoking it. And here's all the laws. And thank you very much. Have a nice day. And then that's it. And when you get your green card back, the return receipt card back, showing that they received it, the nanosecond they received it, you no longer have to pay taxes after that. They just file it away with your social security number to your account. And then you become a foreign national to the United States of America Corporation, or a naturalized American in the 50 state republic. So and that's what I am.
So basically, they have to send it certified mail, because then that proves they received it. They can't come back and say, no, you never sent it. So then when they sign that and you get the little paper saying they signed it, that's the instant you don't have to pay taxes anymore.
Yeah, absolutely. And everyone I know has gotten their cards back. I've heard some people say, oh, I never got my card back, but I got mine, and everyone I know has gotten their cards back. So then you just, you file it away with your important paperwork. You make enough original notarized versions at the same day, like several originals, and then you send them to the IRS, to the commissioner, to the director of services. You can only send copies. You don't have to send originals to the senators. You can just send them copies. They don't do anything with it. They just throw it in their heap of mail. They don't.
The same paper you sent to the IRS, you're sending copies to
the senators of your capital.
Just the senators?
That's it.
Okay. Then if you work for somebody and now you no longer pay taxes, what do you do at that point?
If you work for somebody, well, there's a new thing just happened recently that I thought was really cool. Most people use the W-8BEN, W-8BEN form, and that would replace, the W-4 form. But the W-4 form now, they changed their form. So if you go to your employer and say, I need to update my W-4 form, you can do that anytime you want. And your HR department cannot tell you, and believe me, I did HR myself for years, They can't tell you how to fill out your forms. So what you do is the new forms has a box and says, are you a United States citizen or are you a national? Well, I couldn't believe they put that on there. So you put national. And then it used to be where you would put head of household, number of allowances and all that. They've changed that top part, but on the bottom, there's a part where you can put in the word exempt in all cap letters, exempt. And they will stop pulling out federal taxes after that. Now they're not going to stop pulling out all the taxes, because as long as you work for a corporation, they're required by law, their laws, to suck the payroll taxes out of your check. Because if they don't do that, they could lose their business license, they could lose their corporation, and that's why they do that. So
okay, we have some questions here. Okay, I'm trying to find the one that Desi texted us. Let me see. Let's see, where is it? Okay, Desi, you sent me something. I'm trying to find it. Let's see if it's in. Nope. Okay, there's something here. Cindy says, I was so confused. I ordered my birth certificate from the Department of Health, and on the top is a bunch of void, void, void. It's like you don't exist.
Huh. It says void, void, void on the top of your birth certificate. No, I've never seen that before. That is weird.
She wanted to go to them and question him about that. Well, Senny, go question him about that. Report back.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know what that's about.
Okay, hang on, Vern. You will get in trouble. Stop paying taxes, so I'll have to sort it out one way or another. They will come after you, because I remember
you can contact me, and if you revoke your election before the end of the year, as long as you do it before the end of the year, because you're not going to pay taxes if you've already paid your taxes this year. Now, if you're talking about you haven't paid your taxes this year yet, you should revoke your election as soon as possible. Once you do that, they may send, because it's kind of in the middle, they may send you one more letter. But what a lot of people don't realize is the IRS sends out a lot of bot letters, a lot of no-name letters. Like the first 2-3 letters you get doesn't even have a name on it. And even if you did call the name, there's no phone number. And if you tried to call it, there's nobody that exists with that name. The IRS just is full of bots. So if you get it's always about the power of the pen. They write you write them back. It's always important you write them back in the specified time, and you stand your ground. And they might do that once, and then they're not going to do it again after that. So
okay, let's look at Jody. I went to the GMIE page about a year ago. It said my husband and I had been sold over 850 times. What the heck?
Oh my gosh. Well, we're all being sold over and over for millions and millions of dollars on the stock market as mutual investments. So
what's a GMIE page?
Oh, the GMEI. I think it's GMEI. That's where like if you're looking for your QSIP number, I believe you can find it through there, or they're the company that has those numbers. You might want to confirm if that's correct. I have not gotten my QSIP number yet. So, and I'm sure there's people out there who have, but that is directly tied to your birth certificate and the trust, the QSIP number. And that's given out by the Department of Transportation.
Anita, I want to address your comment. I don't believe we're in tribulation yet because the mark of the beast has not been pressed upon us yet. That mark of the beast, and I believe Kirk Elliott might be onto something, is the CBDC system. You cannot buy or sell without their system. However, we have been lied to by the churches. We have a deep church, and everything that they have told us, God, hell, and damnation, and the tribulation, and the way they interpreted Revelations is a lie. It is really not the end of us. It's the end of them. So think about everything we're going through. I mean, we're going through fires. Look at Maui. Now Canada's on fire. Spain's on fire. I don't know how many countries are on fire and how many cities, but it's like, and all of the the shots and everything, that is all tribulation. We're in it now. We're in those 7 years right now, you know, and hopefully it'll be done soon. But, you know, like Kat says, we need to start standing up. Now, a lot of people say stand up. We need to know what that looks like, because a lot of people are getting berated for not, you know, standing up and doing something. But if you don't know what to do or how to do it or in what way to do it, I don't suggest just going out blindly and doing stuff, because they can really do stuff to you. They can,
Yes.
and they
Yes.
are. And you saw what they did with Kat. They threw her in jail. Now, man, you do have guts. I can tell you, you really do have guts. It's like amazing. So what's next
Thank
for
you.
you with all this? So that now, you know, you got out without having to pay bail, and, you know, they couldn't charge you with anything except some bullshit charge. What's next? Like, now you have to go back to try to get your stuff out of the car, but you can't get your car back, obviously.
Right, right. And the tow truck driver will also, and when I go pick up my stuff, he will get an affidavit of truth that he has the right to pull my car out of my house. He will be he'll be the first probably one that gets an affidavit of truth on Monday. The judge, I'm working on a lawsuit against the judge who adjudicated against me the first time. And so that's the beginning. Now, once I do the lawsuit, then I'm going to serve Sheriff Thomas Croskrey with a brand new affidavit, but this time it's going to have a caveat on it, a very nice large caveat that if he doesn't answer me point by point, then I'm just going to sue him. If he does not rebut my affidavit, I'm going to sue him and him, the man, for harming my family, for telling his cronies to come onto my property, encroach on my land, trespass on my land, encroach upon me. Because man and land are the same, really, in laws. Like the laws of the land are really laws of man. So when we stay to that, they have a hard time fighting you on that level. They don't even really know how to fight you on that level because they don't have jurisdiction over you. They only have jurisdiction over subject matter. And see, this is where they get people. See, and you go to court and it's like, oh, here's the contract. There's a picture of your license, and here's, oh, that's where you signed the contract. So you're going to lose your home now because you didn't pay, even though maybe you broke your back, you broke your leg, maybe you lost your job, maybe you didn't want to take the vaccine, and now they're trying to kick you out of your home. When the trust your trust has already paid for your home. And so a lot of people out there have done this, gone through the process. Maybe they've been successful, maybe they have not been successful. But I haven't really seen anybody saying this is like, everyone needs to do this, not just for yourself, but what if everybody this month, just everybody, just said, yeah, I ain't paying these child sex traffickers. Now, I'm not talking about necessarily the people in the counties, or I don't know. But we know the people at the top and what they do with the children in Hollywood. And, they are the world central bankers, and they control people and they own people using blackmail and money and greed and power and all of that. So we have to, they have all of that going on in this very complicated system that they put on the people. And unfortunately, a lot of the people are so busy with their Netflix, with the television, which is just pure brainwashing. Everything you see on the television is just pure brainwashing. So to watch, that's why it's just so hard to watch anything on the television or the television, because I know when I'm looking at it, I can see what it's doing in the background, where before I didn't see it. It's almost like, your eyes open to the truth now, and you can see it clearer than you ever have before. And this is where we're going. We got to get to a place of truth, and that's the world I am fighting for. And I know so many men and women are out there fighting for it as well. And hey, you know what? We're starting to meet each other. We're starting to connect. Like, look at your show. Before we even got on, there was over 1,000 people who'd already viewed it and liked it. And see, the more we continue with these stories and getting out the truth, the bigger it's going to get. And this bank fraud, it needs to get traction. It really does need to get traction, because otherwise, do you really want to pay like 20 more years for a mortgage plus interest when your bank pays $0 for your loan or your credit?
Break here for a second. What are you calling an affidavit of truth? And can you give us an example of what it is? Like, do you have one handy? Like, can you tell us exactly what you mean by that?
Absolutely. I don't have one handy, but I can tell you what it is. And if you want a copy of an amazing affidavit of truth for your bank to challenge your bank, just email me at onenewearth@protonmail.com, and I will email it to you for free. It's very well put together. And so what an affidavit of truth, just so you know, so there's a lot of people out there who attorneys won't work for them. First of all, attorneys won't sue doctors in their areas. They won't sue each other. They won't sue the judges. So a lot of times you'll get these cases like the masks, the vaccines, and none of the attorneys would take the cases. A lot of them wouldn't. But we, the people, we can do these cases ourselves. It's not that much to put together a summons and complaint and civil cover sheet and go into the courthouse and file a lawsuit against the people. And I think I got off track a little bit. Wait, what? Can you just bring me back? You were asking me a specific question. I think I
know that's what I'm trying to like get you like a little bit kind of focused there.
I know.
So I have on the scrolling on the bottom, onenewearth@protonmail.com for that affidavit.
Oh, affidavit of truth. Thank you.
So
I was going to explain that. Thank you.
You're calling an affidavit of truth, obviously, is the correct name. What is the name they use in the legalese court for that same? Obviously, you're talking about something that they call something
either an affidavit or an indictment.
Okay. So you're sending an indictment. Basically what you're talking about is indictment for the sheriff.
Yes.
And the judge. Okay.
Yes.
That's what you're calling an indictment of truth. Okay.
And what it has is there's three very important parts to an affidavit. So you list the parties. The first part, after you list the parties on an affidavit of truth, is you list your grievances. So you tell 100% truth. You go down the line, and you say what your truth is. The second part of an affidavit of truth is the proof of claims. So you're listing, you want them to prove in writing, prove it, that whatever you're asking, it could be anything. Like, let's say you got fired because you weren't wearing the masks, but now we know masks are not healthy for you, right? Obviously, everyone knows that now, hopefully. So you can send them an affidavit of truth and say proof of claim that masks aren't bad for your health. Proof of claim that masks don't contain, ethylene oxide, like the medical masks, for instance, that were given to the children at all the schools, the ones that are passed out at all of the medical facilities, the doctor's offices, the hospitals. They have ethylene oxide in them, which causes brain cancer. Proof that masks don't proof of claim that masks don't cause breathing problems. Proof of claim the vaccine doesn't kill people. Proof of vaccine that people are not getting myocarditis from the vaccines. Prove it. They can't. And if they don't prove it point by point, then it becomes truth in any court of law. If they don't rebut it at all, point by point, you could that's all you need. Go sue them. That's how we do this. We got to put these people to the fire and make them answer, and they won't answer you, because if they answer you, they will incriminate themselves. So they hope you won't know what to do next. You sue them. You got that affidavit in your hand, you sue them. That's what you do with that. So and that's what we all need to start doing.
So that's what the affidavit is. When you're sending them an indictment, you're suing them. If you don't,
no, you're wanting them to answer point by point your questions. And if they don't, then you can take that affidavit of truth, and now you have something, you have teeth in your claim.
Because they didn't answer it.
Exactly. If you lost your job, now you've got teeth. These people, these judges, again, that affidavit of truth, even a judge cannot just ignore an affidavit, even though they might. And if they do, guess what? Then guess who gets an affidavit of truth next? The judge. See, every single time somebody moves forward and tries to hurt you unlawfully, affidavit of truth. Let's get to the
Okay, but
truth of the matter.
if an attorney's not going to take it to help you sue them, what do?
Well, you don't want to use an attorney. You're going to sue them yourself. Sui juris, which is SUIJURIS. You've heard of pro se, right? Representing yourself pro se. Pro se is basically you representing your straw man in legalese. So you never want to go in pro se in court. You want to go in sui juris. Sui juris just basically means that you're of age of majority and that you are, sound mind and body. You're a competent person, man or woman. So I don't ever do pro se. It would be sui juris. And that's how we fight on the land versus using maritime law and admiralty law, because using that, they'll win every single time. And if you're a defendant in a case, they will win every single time. If you get sued, you sue them back, counterclaim. That will tie everything up if you're having any issues. Now, when you sue an attorney, they have to get a lawyer. They can't represent themselves, and they can't even present themselves. They have to get an attorney. An attorney costs $5,000 or $2,500 to $5,000. And then it takes a year and a half to go through federal court. Federal court's about a year and a half of time. So that pushes things out way far in advance. If everybody just stopped paying their bills, and then when the banks came after them, just started a lawsuit, that would tie everything up for a good year and a half.
Is that what you did?
What?
You sued your bank?
I haven't sued my bank yet, but it's coming. It's coming. But
if you had sued the bank for the car,
yes. If I had done it the week before, it would have been a lot better for me. Unfortunately, I didn't move fast enough, and that was because I was just getting ready to do that. But now that they've done this, it kind of changes my game plan a little bit. But yes, to answer your question, that does tie things up if you sue them back.
Okay, wait. So before I lose my train of thought. So you quit paying your car payment. They threatened to come and get the car. If you had sued the bank over your car, they wouldn't have been able to take it for a year and a half?
Well, no, well, I would say that they could do anything they want.
Right, yeah.
But again, look, if there is a lawsuit about fraud, do they really want to still come in, and even though there's this lawsuit of fraud?
Right.
And that didn't happen yet. I do have a lawsuit against the attorney. His name is Samuel. And so against my car. Now that's not anything. But attorneys are going to think twice before they sue me, because I have 3 attorneys suing me, and I'm suing 3 attorneys. So the next attorney wants to sue me. Well, guess what? He's going to get sued too. People are abetting in fraud. They're abetting in fraud, and they're just going to keep abetting in fraud. They're doing it on secondhand information. They're doing it on hearsay. They weren't there when the transaction was taken care of. They haven't seen the wet signature or any of the paperwork. They're only listening to the bank and taking it for face value. They're not digging. That's their client. So they're representing their client, and they're protecting their client and, of course, themselves. So anyways, it's very interesting how this all works. And, a lot of people can't necessarily just be flying money around with lawsuits. It's not something I really want to do either, because everybody's tight right now, but
yeah, that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to make sure we're tight.
Oh yeah, they're making sure of that for sure. But we need to, I just am saying, what if you just stood your ground, and if you knew something was a lie, I guess you have to ask yourself the question, if you want to keep participating in the lie that you know is a lie, or you want to stand up and challenge it. The people are too lazy. They want other people to do it for them. They don't want to get involved. They don't even want to know. They would rather work 30 years and pay that off plus interest like everyone did in the past, I mean, if you look at it, your grandparents, your parents, how hard they worked for their properties and their homes just to be broken down at the end of their life clock.
Right. We have a
And that's
question.
not fair to the people.
Okay, so Veronique, are you asking where does the money come from that they paid for the car if it doesn't come from the bank? So you might want to explain that again.
It comes from the Federal Reserve.
Came from the
Yeah.
Federal Reserve. The bank never had the money.
Yeah, there's no money. There's no money. What happens is they take your installment note agreement or your promissory note, and then they sell it to the Federal Reserve. And the Federal Reserve just creates the money, or the digits, not money, digits, and then they send those digits via wire transfer into your bank account as the originator. And then the bank puts its dirty little paws in it, and all they do is transfer it to the title company. They did nothing. They didn't provide anything. They provided $0. The Federal Reserve provided it. And then on the back end, you have a trust. And guess what? The real money, backed by gold, backed by you, by the way, because there would be no trust if you weren't there, you know? So that money gets transferred taken out of your trust. This is the real thing, because there's always two things going on, right? So this is your real trust. They're taking it out of that and putting it into another trust, and it sits there until you die. When you die, they suck it all out. Or maybe it keeps going after you die. I've heard that some people's death certificates still collect money after people die. So it's crazy what they do to the people and the system that we're in.
Who is it collecting the money from?
Who are they collecting the money
after
from?
you die, the
cabal, the elite. They have trust accounts set up for every person in the world. There's a trust account, but there's people at the top. Probably the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers. Those people, they have the access, they have the access to the devil's bank account. That's what I call that, the devil's bank account, because that's where all of our money goes. Because you'll never see like, where does your payroll taxes go? So when you pay your payroll taxes and you see that it was deducted out of your check, where did that go? You'll never know. It goes into the devil's bank account. That's where it goes.
When you say it's still collecting money, it's probably still collecting interest, is what you're talking about, right? Or
yes, collecting interest,
or on the stock exchange. So, okay, one other question here. Oh, thank you. Okay, not that one. I was looking at another one. I have to pay, but thank you, Veronique. Yeah. I have to pay $10,000 for an appellant attorney because a judge who wasn't assigned to my case gave the defendant a summary judgment against me. How should I proceed from here when I don't have $10,000?
Oh my God. This is what they do to the people. They're so expensive. How are people supposed to afford this? The only people who can afford it are the corporations and the banks, who can print money all day long. Okay, let's see. So an appellant attorney, because a judge who wasn't assigned to my case gave the defendant a summary judgment against. Well, you know what? Write me at onennewearth@protonmail.com. And if there's a judge not doing what they're supposed to be doing, you can send them an affidavit of truth. And I have one for a judge specifically. So, and it may not be the exact one you want. You do have to tailor it to your situation. But that's affidavits of truth is how we get to the truth of the matter. And they want you to pay attorneys, and attorneys really don't do anything. They just keep you going and going and going. You're going to end up paying another $5,000 retainer probably at some point. They never end up doing really a good job. And if you find a cheap attorney, it's somebody brand new who doesn't know what they're doing. I mean, even the ones who know what they're doing, you might not get a good job out of them, and you're paying so much money for it. So write me for the affidavit of truth, or if you want to, we could do a Zoom meeting and talk about it, the specifics, and I'm happy to meet with people and help where I can.
Okay. Kathleen says, I'm going to ask for prayers, an extra prayer for my daughter, is 18 weeks pregnant and has breast cancer, starts her first chemo on Saturday.
Oh,
and John Hopkins, another criminal.
Chemo. Chemo is poison. I watched my mom die the worst cancer ever. and the hospital basically killed her.
Mhm.
So I always, people are waiting, for instance, like for med beds. We know that there's healing technology, healing, like even like what I wear, we talked about like EMF, protection. This is a pink
Mhm.
quartz, but it has the healing infused into it to protect me from radiation and all kinds of other things. But I mean, this is what they do to us with the system and with the radiation. Gosh, I want to see more alternative medicines at least coming out until then. I mean, they have like what is it? What's the RSD oil, CBD oil,
Well,
eating whole foods,
actually,
drinking water.
Martin with Life Enthusiast has protocols. He has absolute protocols, Kathleen. Go ahead and contact him. You can go to healthwithtcp.com and you can go to the bottom and there's a contact here. Hang on, let me pull that up. If she's open, that's the other problem. People are so, they scare you when you go to any kind of the Mayo Clinic, whatever. They're scaring people. Here's a phone number. You can call them and set something up with Martin. First 15 minutes is free. He says he pretty much can answer anybody's questions, in 15 minutes. And then it's only $30 per 15 minutes after that. But like he said, he can answer most of your questions in that time. So I think if you go to contact, you can put information in here. And then here it is, health coach. Click on health coach. And you can ask health coach and set something up with him. He is so knowledgeable. I have him on, frequently, all the time. And many of you guys know that. I told him I would start having him on every 2 weeks. We were doing every 3 weeks, but because of what they're finding that they've done to the unvaxxed blood as well as the vax blood. So go to my, this is funny. Trump's
Oh my goodness.
So if you go to Third Culture Patriot, that's my channel. Scroll down and you'll see where I have, last time we covered a lot of stuff. Where is it? You know what? Click most recent. I don't know why they figured out they know what's most relevant. Right here. And he talks about a lot of different stuff. He has such amazing protocol. He's so knowledgeable. It's like, you don't have to go to college or medical school to learn. You just learn and dabble and study and watch, and you'll learn a lot.
Yep. Read too. Lots of reading.
Chemo mustard gas. Once every 3 weeks, 4 times. Once, so they give her chemo 4 times a week, 4 times in a week, every 3 weeks.
Yeah, that did my mom in. I think 3% of people live through chemo. So we have to.
Someone whose brother had cancer and he was in remission, and they still put a chemo drip on him. Oh, well, so it doesn't come back, and they killed him. They killed him in the most horrific way. And his brother is still so traumatized from that. It's horrible, horrible. All right, Kat, I want you to end with just telling everybody what you think everyone should do, unite, all that, and we'll end the show here and we'll have you on again soon.
Okay, thank you. Well, we're at a point in as you think of history, his story, right? We've learned so many lies. We were, brought into a school system to condition us to be factory workers for the Rockefellers. We are told that, all these things, we're given all these bread and circuses, things to distract us. We've got the mainstream media news that's lying to us. We have all these actors that are playing as real people, these politicians. We really don't even know who's alive and dead at this point. And so we're living in this illusion world. And We're just going along with it. And now I went along with it for a long time because I didn't know there was an illusion world. I thought it was the real world. But now that we're all waking up to the truth, what I'm asking people to do is just stand in the truth. Don't allow these governments, which are corporations. The state of Washington's a corporation. They're all corporations. Don't let them bully you. Stand your ground. Now, we are going up against people who are in a system that are trying to lead us into the new world order. So, I mean, you have to keep that in mind. But the Bible has been telling this to us for, thousands of years at this point. We've known about the end times. It's not, the thing is that it's not really the end times, because we have a new beginning that's coming that does not include debt, slavery. It's crazy and ridiculous that we should pay to live on our own planet. And in fact, we are the only species on this planet that pays for our food and housing. How are we the most intelligent beings on this planet when we're the only ones paying for our own food and housing? So this system was created to keep us dumbed down, to keep us programmed, distracted, and down under a slavery system where they could manhandle us at any time. And these people are not good people. These people are part of a Luciferian order, a system that is trying to direct us and lead us into the new world order. Now, there is a timeline shift, and it's so apparent how there's these two realities going on at the same time. And there are people out there who don't even know the reality exists. They're literally living in fantasy land. It's Alice and Wonderland because everything's inverted. So all I'm asking is for people to find it in their hearts to stand with courage in the truth. The more people that do that, the faster this is going to be over. Trump said to the people that he's giving the power back to you, the people. Well, that he said that back in 2016. Now it's 2023, and he's still waiting. He can't do it all by himself. Trump needs our help. God needs us to move for him, through him. We have the Christ consciousness in us, and we need to learn to move and to walk in truth as God would want us to do. So if people could join me in the truth, that's what it's all about, our sovereignty and truth. We just want to be free. We don't want to live under this debt slavery anymore. And God created this earth for us to all enjoy the resources of, not for them to steal all of the resources like United States. They have 90% of our country, and we only live on 10%. If we only live on 10%, then depopulation is a lie, and we all know it's a lie. It's all marketing. It's all, just to keep us dumbed down and worrying about, what's going on tomorrow, what's happening here. Johnny's got football next week, or going on Hawaii next month, or my Netflix series is going to, all these things to distract us. And you hear people saying, I would defend my country. If the time comes, we're going to defend our country. But then they're home watching Netflix, and there's like drag shows going on with children. Who's stepping up for these children? So this is why it's every voice matters. And maybe you right now, who you here listening, you're here right now for a reason. We are all here at this time for a reason. And with God, all things are possible. And so I just want to encourage everyone today just to look within, pray, meditate, deprogram, and begin to use the pen, the power of the pen, to start fighting the truth. Think about the Little Mermaid. You remember when she sold her soul to Ursula? What happened? Mm-hmm. She signed a contract. She was Ursula, she was so excited. She signed the contract because that's binding. They're telling us in the Little Mermaid movie that contracts are binding. I mean, even if you sell your soul to the devil. So we can also use that pen against them. they've been using it against us forever. And now it's time for us to start learning how to stand up for our rights, because we don't get our rights from the government. We get our rights come from God. So that's my message today. And I love all of you. And I thank you for supporting what I'm doing. And not everyone supports or thinks they think I'm crazy. But I know you guys don't think I'm crazy. You know what I'm doing. It's for the truth, and it's for everyone, whether they think I'm crazy or not. So
Right. Let's do one more. Let's do a couple.
Breaking news, you must watch this. The TikTok ban is back, and I'm being serious. Now we know why they've been so quiet about banning TikTok. I need you to like, share, and comment on this video. It's absolutely critical. We have no time to waste. It's got to go through the algorithm. It may be the most important thing you have to do to save TikTok, and it's headed to get banned fast. Just so you know, good old Senator Josh Hawley, who we're going to expose right now, made good in his promise earlier banning TikTok, and specifically just TikTok. When his pathetic attempt at getting a unanimous consent vote on the Senate floor didn't work, thanks to Rand Paul, he is now sneaking a provision into a completely unrelated bill that has been introduced. It's Senate Bill 2226, and it has introduced and proposed amendment S841. Clear as day, subtitle H says, No TikTok on United States Devices Act. He tried to sneak this into a bill that should have no problem getting approved because it is called the National Defense Authorization Act for fiscal year 2024. And these always get approved for defense funding. And if you don't think it will work, think again. As of July 27, 2023, just a couple weeks ago, the Senate ordered the measure printed and passed, and there have already been 24 votes. Why is TikTok such a threat? First, it was national security. Then it was the algorithm. Then it was to protect the children. You see, they don't want it passed because they don't want us to have real conversations that they can't control. They want the narrative to be their narrative, and anything different threatens their America, the one they hijacked. Oh, and just an FYI, Marco Rubio has also done the same thing in a different bill, just in case this one doesn't work out. Marco Rubio and Josh Hawley, you've been exposed, and we need to expose them. You need to share this video. Share, share, share. Thanks for watching, and follow me for more updates on this.
Yeah. How did we find out all about Maui? Through TikTok. Through TikTok.
Well, I don't have TikTok. I didn't find out through TikTok, but
TikTok has TikTok has a lot of information. They've been going on about, China and TikTok and all this stuff. But at the end of the day, that's where a lot of the young people are waking up, because they are on TikTok. So the 18-year-olds, the 20-year-olds, the early 30s, all of these people who have been brainwashed, they are on TikTok. That's where you reach them. And a lot of them that are in their early 20s are putting out all this information, a lot of information. That's why they want to ban it. And also, when they were going to ban it, I think it was Dinesh D'Souza that came out with, wait a minute, we started reading this thing, and if they ban TikTok, they get to ban everything. Mm-hmm. So we can't communicate. So when I saw that, I'm gonna upload that to my Telegram and stick it on the body of this video for people to share. I did share it on my Twitter account. The other thing that's really interesting, and I know I'm gonna take this a little too long, but Desi sent me something. I actually want to send it and ask Elon Musk on Twitter. PC Mag, X will begin to have users verify their identity by having them submit a selfie alongside a government-issued ID. The process requires users to consent to X storing their information for 30 days and sharing it with Autotix, an identity verification company based in Israel. Oh, are the Mossad behind that one? The Khazarian Mafia, the real evil people of this world? All right, well, now let's look for something that...
I don't trust him as far as I can throw him.
Elon Musk.
Yeah, he's a transhumanist. He wants to chip our brain. So I can only trust him so far. He's a part of the story, and he's been a good part of the story. But I mean, a lot of these things are just, even distractions with what's going on. Because Holly, all these people that are the very right, with very conservative, for instance, that are up there fighting, as fun as they may be to listen to me, they're just suits and skirts. They're suits and skirts. They're all actors. Everyone. I feel like they're all just actors. It's like, well, let's pick, who's my favorite, or oh, they're fighting for my rights, but nothing ever happens. It's all a big show. It's all theater. And what did Shakespeare say? The world is a stage. And he knew something. He knew the world was a stage. It was a stage then, and it's a stage now. we
Okay, let me
should be the stars.
Let me read some comments from Rumble. Hi, Kat. Heidi here. I heard all about it. I'm so proud of you. Girl, you got this. Much love and light to you both.
Thank you, Heidi. I appreciate you.
You're absolutely awesome. My husband's listening and is so impressed. Thank you so much for sharing. Hope this goes viral.
Thank you. Thank you. Bless you. Bless both of you.
Okay, Dog
We're all
Days.
finding each other, which is awesome.
Dog Days says, do you lose Social Security benefits by becoming a sovereign citizen?
As long as you served the system for 10 years. If you only served it for 5, you'll not get any benefit, because it would have been really built up anyways. But after 10 years, if your straw man served, then yes, you get all of your benefits. They can't take that away from you.
Sarge says, sue with a jury of our peers, Kat.
That's Sarge. Right. Yeah. Hey, Sarge.
How do you sue with a jury of your peers?
Well, see, every time at this point when I'm doing lawsuits, I am, you get to check a box. Do you want a jury? Yes or no? Yes. Yes, 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 yes. Thank you, Sarge, for bringing that up. Because, see, the judge will just adjudicate against you. The lawyer is paid, obviously, to keep you down and dumb. But hey, guess what? 12 jury people looking at the actual truth, they might be able to see it. They may not, they may. But you have a way better shot with a jury than you're going to do with a judge, for sure.
Okay. Well, we may want to hear more details on that. All right. This one looks really funny. Let's see what it is. It's like don't mess with Texas. Don't mess with
This trick to power your home for pennies has made energy companies furious. This simple trick could save you.
Okay, that was good.
It's one more look, divine intervention.
Yeah, you're not supposed to touch the signs, buddy, okay? Okay, I didn't expect that. I wasn't expecting that. That was good. That was good. Put 2 real ones first and then put that one up. That was
good. Don't give a bad name to cyclists. We don't do that.
Man, that was good. You Joey. You big dummy.
All right. Let's end the show here. Thanks, Kat. We'll be having her on regularly,
nice to see you again.
All right, because we definitely, and once again, you guys want to contact her to help you become free of the IRS, and go to
onenewEarth@protonmail.com.
Or they can email you at onenewEarth@protonmail.com.
Yes.
And then her Rumble is Kat Ispinda as well.
Yes. The Kat Ispinda show. And if you go look for my latest video, the video that she showed you of me getting arrested, I added the footage of the cops at my door and some context with text. So please share that with everyone. Everyone needs to see that. Do you think you could play that before you end it?
Yeah.
Just look at the last video I posted. It's 2 minutes and 22 seconds long.
Okay.
222.
I guess you can't put spaces in it. Oh, well, why isn't it going to your page? All right, well, here's what we do.
I think I might be on along the left, all your subscriptions on the left.
Yeah, I know, but it should pull you up when I do that.
Okay, it's the one with the sheriff in there.
That says, yeah. Alert share. Okay.
Yes.
There's fraud going. My bank is committing fraud. I brought all the proof. Babe, can you take my proof, please?
Absolutely.
Don't let them take that. Because they lied. You guys lied to me.
What do you want to go with?
Do you lie? You guys lied to me about the bank. So this is what you guys are, what is your
Do
name?
you want the purse to go with it?
Surplus?
Yes.
No, can you take my purse?
Absolutely.
Yes. It's okay. So they're arresting me, and Capo has committed fraud, and I have the proof, and this is no justice in this area. There's no justice. Thank you.
Love you.
I love you too.
Benton County Sheriff's Office.
Sheriff Jack takes the keys from my son. By the way, they came the day before, and I spent 45 minutes peacefully protesting my stance because of the bank fraud. Your bank does not pay a penny towards your loan, and I have the proof for my loan, but this happens to all loans admitted by Chris Torres, the VP of Asset Recovery with Hapo Community Credit Union, on a recorded line. So he admitted
It's a she, yeah.
That
Yeah.
they don't pay a penny towards your loan.
Yep.
He was served June 6, 2023 with my affidavit of truth, which is indictment, right? And stance on the fraud. And I offered to show him the fraud to prove my innocence. He never once called me. This was my second attempt to share this with him. He's a pretty boy. Look at him. You should do one. Write him and tell him what you think. thomas.crosskey@co.benton.wa.us.
Yeah, email him.
Yeah.
Send him an email and tell him what you think.
For you, those of you listening, that's thomas@co.benton.wa.us for those listening on podcast. Is there any more here? Let's see. You need to do one. I don't know if it would lose your any I don't want to say power, but legal stance. You need to play her on the phone. Can you do a video with her admitting that not a single penny trades hands?
Oh, I did. It's on my channel now. It's, remember the vice president of asset recovery that it's about 4 or 5 videos earlier.
Okay, let's see.
And it has a picture of my logo on the front, so it's really easy to spot. Just keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. Almost there, almost there. There, right there. See where it says Cataspinda with my logo on it?
Does that play right at the beginning?
Well, it's a 17-minute long phone call, but
oh, wow.
Okay.
We'll have to go through it and get that. Okay, I have one more thing for the lady whose daughter has cancer. D. Langley 1366 says, start taking ivermectin. We have learned, Dr. Lee Merritt has shown that on a microscope, cancer looks the same as parasites. So might I say probably nanotech parasites. check out Dirt Road Diggers on Telegram. Listen to his story. Amazing how he survived and was given a death sentence. He had 30 days and he's fine. Because a lot of these are the nanobots that they're putting in.
Yeah.
And so the ivermectin does get that. And by the way, I'm going to remember going back to the poisoning of no, it's Karen Kingsley. She had mentioned Dr. Artis was poisoned too, and he was. And he was interviewed by Blessed to Teach, and the way they did it was he gets 5, and she had talked about the water. They had, remember, Watch the Water. So he has 5 bottles, 5-gallon jugs of water brought to his house every single month. And this particular month, it was somebody he didn't know delivered 28 5-gallon jugs to him. And mind you, he gets 5. He got 28. And when he took the water to be tested, it had remdesivir in it. It had 5 different types of snake and snail poisons. And it had, I can't remember what else it was, but I will be getting that clip as well. So they're finding all kinds of ways. So Kat, watch your water. Seriously, watch your water. Anything that comes into your house. And there are protocols to detox all this crap, but certainly
I have I'm a hydrogen water affiliate for Best Hydrogen Water, and I have I've been drinking hydrogen water and alkaline waters for 7 years, and it literally has, like, it's reversed aging, drinking that water, because I don't drink anything else but hydrogen water. So yeah, no, I feel like that's one of the things that people just miss, because the cells, it doesn't go into your cells, the water, it just goes over your cells. But when it gets broken down and there's hydrogen added, it absorbs into the cells. So there's so much to do with water. But yeah, there's a lot of poison even where I live. There's, I think, over 400 poisons in our city water. I would never drink it. I don't like drinking restaurant water or any water. So yes, but it can look into good water solutions for you. Don't drink tap or bottled water. It's just full of poison.
Right. Okay. Well, thank you, Kat. Thank you, everyone, for being here. And I hope you learned something, and definitely contact Kat for more information. And for anything that you all are dealing with that you don't have any questions, that you don't have any answers to. All right. Bye, everybody. See you tomorrow night. Oh, bye. I'll be having Raylene on tomorrow night. So Raylene Strong, the one who actually exposed 15-minute cities and all that. However, what she's been talking to about more is what Maui Earth represents, and that she is like, that they're going after the jugular, what they did with Maui, because that's basically like the hub. And I think Sarge said that too, that it's basically the hub of the whole world, like the center. But then there's some other things going on there as well. But anyway, I'm going to have her on tomorrow night. And then I'm going to have Rick Hassler, who does Nature's Frequencies and programs Earth frequency and different things into holograms. All right, guys. See y'all tomorrow night. Good night. Good night, everybody.